Eli, Eli Valentine.
Alright, we're doing the Buzz Stop cereal, haha. No further to say about that. What's good, Shark? How you doing, man?
It was the 21st of March 2002. Just after 3 p.m, 13-year-old Millie Dowler left school for the day in Weybridge in Surrey, Great Britain.
You
Millie had
British?
planned to stay late that day in school to do some artwork with a friend. Her mother, Sally, who worked at the school, would then drive her home. However, Millie's plans changed that particular day. Millie and her friend did their work during their lunch break instead, and that meant they could leave school at their usual time. When school finished, Millie walked to the Weybridge railway
I'm
station
doing good,
with a
man.
friend.
Doing good.
The two girls got off the train at Walton-on-Thames station. Millie normally got off the train at the next stop, but on that particular day, she wanted to get some food with her friend. There was a little coffee shop in the station, and it wouldn't take Millie too long to walk home from there. Just before 4 p.m, Millie called her dad, Bob, to let him know she would be home in half an hour.
Bobby Bob.
Bob didn't know it then, but that would be the last time he would ever speak to his daughter again.
Oh, that's sad,
When
bro.
Millie failed to return home, her parents were worried.
Fish and
It wasn't
chips.
like Millie and she had already called to say she would be home. They reported her missing to the police. At that stage, it was around 7 p.m. that evening. There was an immediate sense that
Do that
something
right
was
away.
wrong.
Do it right away.
Police retraced her steps. They knew Millie had been in the coffee shop that day, and they also knew she left just after 4 p.m. At that time, just after 4 p.m, Millie headed down Station Avenue alone as her friend's home was in a different direction, but that was as much as police knew. There was a CCTV camera at the end of Station Avenue, and there was no sign of Millie in the footage.
Police in Surrey say they're growing increasingly concerned about
That's
the
sad,
safety of
man.
a 13-year-old girl who hasn't been seen since Thursday afternoon.
Over the next days and weeks, news of Millie's disappearance was rarely off our screens and newspapers.
Seeing it happen here in your own area, it's very close to reality. It's very scary.
Within the last hour, the parents of the missing 13-year-old schoolgirl Amanda Dowler have made a public appeal for help in finding her.
Unbelievable. We're devastated. We're just so desperately worried, and we just want to have Millie back home with us so much.
That's sad, man.
At the time, it was suggested and even hoped by some that Millie perhaps had simply run away from home. It seemed a bit of a stretch as she had just left her friend.
Right.
Her friend believed she was heading straight home, and she even called her dad to tell him she was on the way. But the reality was that her disappearance just didn't make sense. It was the middle of the day. People saw Millie leave the coffee shop and walk down the road, so it should have been a straightforward case.
Love you, man.
But it
Appreciate you.
wasn't.
I love you too, Shark.
Police knocked on every door in the area and spoke with people who were in the area at the time. Months of searching led to nothing until the Dowler family received the most devastating news some 6
shit.
months later.
6 months later?
On the 18th
Bro, imagine your daughter missing for 6 months, bro. That shit just, ugh. That feeling to have, bro. Oh, no.
of September 2002, any hope of finding Millie alive was shattered. Mushroom pickers discovered remains in Yankee Heath Woods in Hampshire.
Oh, man.
The remains were so badly decomposed that dental records were required to identify that they were the remains of Millie Dowler.
Oh, man.
Due to the decomposition, the cause of death could not be determined.
She compared the remains found in Yateley Heath Wood yesterday with the dental records of Amanda Dowler. We can now confirm the results of the examination was almost certainly those of the missing Amanda.
The police looked again at the last place Millie was seen alive. They knew she left the coffee shop and walked past a bus stop, but by all accounts did not make it as far as the CCTV camera at the end of the street, so they needed to establish if she had perhaps taken a lift with someone she knew, or if she had been abducted. They simply did not have the answer to that question. By chance, in 2004, an officer from Surrey transferred to a new station. He was investigating women who had been murdered and assaulted in the area, and noticed that the circumstances of some of the cases were similar to Millie's case. One man who was being questioned in relation to them was a man called Levi Bellfield. He looked at his file to see where Levi lived when Millie went missing, and to his astonishment, he lived just over 50 yards from where Millie was last seen. Levi Bellfield lived with his girlfriend Emma Mills at the time. She confirmed to police that on the day
Sorry. Why his head look like a donut, brother?
Bellfield lived with his girlfriend Emma Mills at the time. She confirmed to police that on the day Millie went missing, She did not know where Levi was. He came home that night between 10-11 p.m. She thought he was wearing different clothes than he had on earlier in the day, and he left the flat again just before 4 a.m. Emma further confirmed that at the time, Levi drove a red Daewoo Dexia. Police looked back through the CCTV footage and there it was.
Wait a
red
minute.
Daewoo Dexia
Hold
drove past at
the fuck on.
4:32 p.m.
Oh, man.
That car was reported missing 8 days later and
Oh,
was never
shit.
found. Just one day before Millie went missing. Someone else saw the red car acting suspicious, but the two were never connected at the time.
Oh, it might be GG.
Rachel Cowles, who was 11 years old
It
at the
might be
time,
GG.
was walking home when the red car stopped beside her. The driver said he was her new neighbour and he would give her a lift home. Rachel knew her neighbours, so she refused. This happened just 3 miles from where Millie was last seen. But that was just one of the many offences police needed to ask Levi about. A pattern had emerged of Levi through the police investigation, and that was that Levi hated women. Police believe he was responsible for a large number of unsolved attacks on women.
Yo.
Levi would drive around bus stops and try to talk to young women and girls who were on their own. When he didn't get
the fucking creep ass nigga. I'm still like, I got you at this.
He wanted from them. His stalking and harassment escalated. In February 2003, 19-year-old Marsha McDonnell was found bleeding to death just yards from her home. A hammer had been used in the attack.
Her eyes are cool with the little bluish, bro.
And she had severe head injuries. Marsha died in hospital 2 days later.
R.I.P., man.
Marsha had been at the cinema that night with friends and got the bus home. She got off the bus stop close to her home and was almost home when she was attacked. CCTV footage revealed a car was driving beside the bus and it stayed close to the bus. That car
You
was
wish
registered
Kuza had those eyes. I love Kuza's anyways. Stop, alright? No.
to Levi Bellfield. Levi would drive past buses and bus stops looking for women who were alone, and if they rejected him, he would attack them. In August 2004, Amélie Delagrange, a 22-year-old student from France, was beaten on Twickenham Green and later died in hospital from severe head injuries. The similarities to Amélie's case and the case of Marsha led police to believe that the same person was involved in the two murders.
Probably.
Levi drove a van at the time,
Ew.
and it was seen in the Twickenham area on CCTV.
Lock his ass up right
Levi
now.
was charged with the murder of Marsha McDonnell and Amélie Delagrange and the attempted murder of Kate Sheedy. He was convicted of their murders in 2008 and sentenced to life. In 2010, he was charged with the murder of Millie Dowler, some 8 years after she went missing. It was believed that Levi was on Station Avenue that day. He was hiding behind some bushes, and when he saw Millie walking alone, he grabbed her. At 6 feet 1 inch and 20 stone, he easily overpowered her. He took
her little fucking girls, bro.
Her to his flat, which was just yards away, and assaulted her before then driving her to his mother's house. The CCTV footage that showed Levi's car was from 4:32 p.m, and police believe Millie was alive in the car at that time. He raped her outside his mother's house and tortured her at a third location. All this took place over a 14-hour period. On June 23, 2011, after a tense and emotionally charged trial, the jury returned with a verdict. Levi Bellfield was found guilty of the abduction and murder of Millie Dowler. This conviction added another life sentence to his existing ones for the other murders. The Dowler family, though they could never truly find closure, were at least granted a measure of justice.
At last, the man responsible for the cruel murder of our darling daughter so many years ago has been found guilty. To actually see that man in court, a man capable of such a vile and inhuman crime, has been grotesque and distressing for us. The length the system goes to protect his human rights seems so unfair compared to what we as a family have had to endure.
Jeez, man. R.I.P. Fuck count, man.
My boy exploded, I got my bag and they know it. She wanna pose for a photo, I don't want nothing to do with it. Gotta stand the clip so that I keep my palm in the trunk.